Apologies for the delay, but we are back and going finally again. Alright, so sorry for that very long delay. We are hoping now to get on the way before 20 to 8, which with a maybe a 40-minute race, maybe possibly 50 due to safety cars, hopefully finished by 9:30, which I will take any day of the week. Looking good. We've a new host, which is probably needed. We'll do some changes if need be, but at the moment I think we are all set up for a good Grand Prix ahead of us, and hopefully at night as well. We are to have a night race for the second time this season and for the final time in August, and we can get going for the final race of the first half of the season. Jaden starting second last. Will he be able to extend his advantage at the front, or will the other drivers maybe start to catch up a bit after tonight? Especially I think for the likes of George Ansell starting on pole, and possibly maybe even Legend, who's missed the last 4 races due to holidays. He has 7 more races now to catch up and show if he can give some sort of title challenge to the drivers ahead. But we'll find that out very soon. Both Mercedes look to be in good positions to maybe try and disturb George Ansell and get maybe one of them the first race win. There's only one driver left on the grid with a race win, and that is Jaden, as Bogdan Moldovan has decided to pull out after the last 2 rounds. He won in Hungary and Monza, but after a horrible race for him in Britain, he's decided to step away, which I'm not going to argue with him or beg him to come back. It's his decision at the end of the day, and we must respect everyone's decision on whether they want to race or not. But at the moment we have 20 drivers on the grid, and 11 or 12 of them are racing tonight, and we'll see which of them are going to show anything hugely of interest. So here we go to 5 red lights here for this Qatar Grand Prix. It's lights out and away we go. It's a good getaway from George Ansell as he remains in the lead, and it looks like Hyper's going to try go down the inside of F. Parsons as Legend remains in P2. Sight goes round her outside and manages to keep P3. F. Parsons still battling here as they go now round turn 2 and through turn 3 they go. George Ansell well in the lead already, and it's looking like Syke dives down the inside possibly of the Mercedes and has forced Legend to go a little bit wide here from the start, and in doing so has had to compromise his line. F. Parsons is trying to now come back at him, but Syke is in the lead, and there's a car spun round at the back. It's Ski-Fan spun round and is down to last place. There's many cars changing positions here at the moment, but at the moment everyone seems to be going quite smoothly, as that's the Ferrari of SLR Quattro having a bit of a moment there through turn 8. But at the moment everyone is going quite well through now. Up they go through turn 12 and 13. The cars flying around these really fast corners. We'll see what on earth they have, as it looks like Zane has had a problem there, as Alfie's gone very wide there. It may allow Syke to get onto the back of him. At the moment it's a very clean getaway, as it looks like the front 6 have gotten a good getaway from the rest of the field. Syke right on the back of Legend here, and on the back of George Ansel. Syke could maybe get 2 cars in one here. Going into turn 1, he's got past Legend and is up in the second place. Can he maybe get the lead of the race too? He's going to try it, but George Ansel defends quite well. Syke still on the back of the Alpine, goes for the switch down through 3 and down towards turn 4 he goes. George Ansel trying to stay with it. This is brilliant racing from the two, the Dutch and the Brit, as they head down towards turn 6 now. Syke will have the better line, I think, on the exit. George Ansel is now a car length in front and is back in front, as F. Parsons gets by his own teammate there and is up into the podium places. These top 5 are all battling very well here through the first few laps of this 29 lap race, as Syke is still right on the back of George Ansel and may have a chance when they go down the main straight. We'll have to find out, as that is S.J. Williams who has spun out there through turn 8, and he has dropped down behind Ski-Fan to the back of the field. George Ansel and Syke still right beside each other here at the moment. Syke is showing why he is a Season 3 CTCR champion here. He is showing he has all the pace to be a champion and maybe a winner here in Qatar, as he has a good tow all the way down this straight. George Ansel, neither of them are burning it. They're waiting maybe possibly for DRS. Syke may not want DRS. He's on the softs. George Ansel's on the hards. Syke goes down the inside and is in the lead of the race. A brilliant move from the McLaren driver. George Ansel may try to get back at him, but Syke is now a car length in front and is in front of all 20 drivers here in Qatar, as I think that's F. Parsons going down the inside here of Legend, and on the soft compound also gets by his teammate now, as Mercedes are battling something they don't want to do. Legend dives back down the inside here through 6 and has forced his teammate a little bit wide, but it's a brilliant move from Legend, who's back up into the podium places. It's been a very good race so far in the first 3 laps, as all drivers are battling for position, as DRS now is enabled, so we'll see whether George Ansel can get back at his teammate or not. We look through the rest of the field, everyone else seems to be going quite well all the way down towards turn 14 or P14. Jaden has made up places at the start, but is a good bit back from Oven Curry now and has been attacked by El Mas, as SLR Quattro has picked up a 3-second time penalty. Syke has gone a little bit wide there through 15, and we'll see now with George Ansel getting, not the best of exits, but DRS will help him here. Syke tries to break the toe, goes back to the racing line here. We'll see now what will happen. George Ansel steams by the McLaren and is back up into the lead of the race. A lovely move from the Alpine driver, as that is Tyro. I'm pretty sure I see it on my screen, has set the fastest lap of the race. So George Ansel trying to defend here, as it looks like again F. Parsons is going to go down the inside of Legend here, and just like, and Legend has picked up a penalty early on. That is not good for the front row sitter, and in doing so he's also forced his teammate wide, and SLR Quattro, the other driver with a penalty, has picked up the place and is up in the P4. And Quattro, despite being unwell while driving today, kind of like what I'm pretty sure Alex Albon did sometime last season, he is showing that he still has serious pace and may be able to have a go at Quattro, as Tyro also gets by Parsons, whose tyres seem to be falling away because Hyper is also getting right onto the back of the new Mercedes driver. but at the moment they all manage to stay in position. Psych will have DRS again on George Ansel. Very little battery compared to the Alpine, so I'm pretty sure George Ansel will stay in front. Those soft tyres are going to start to fall away now for the rest of the field, as Hyper with DRS is going to get by probably F. Parsons here. No, they've collided there through one. A little bit of bumping of side pod and wheel, and Hyper has to just maintain position. Oh, that's it, Jake May. A huge slap of oversteer out of 2 and has gone from P8 all the way down to P11. That is heartbreaking for the Aston Martin driver, who'd missed out on a podium in Jeddah and of course missed out as well in Great Britain, and is currently missing out on the points here, as Aston Martin's only real threat for the points this evening is falling away. Jake May, I think, has picked up his second penalty and is on 6 along with Bosan. That is not good for him, as it looks. Look at Syke. Syke's tyres really are starting to fall off, and Legend, despite having his penalty, they're all flying away from Tyro. Look at that. Syke's gone really wide again through 15. He's done that a lot so far, and look at the slide there through the final corner. He's going to get overtaken easily by both, but Quattro, he may try and get by both of them here and into second place. Legend seems to have the better straight line speed, and that's why he's managed to keep the place. So it's Legend who is in second from Quattro, and then Syke and his good friend Tyro behind, as Ferrari are picking up strong points here at the moment. They definitely need that, because third in the championship and 42 points off the lead. They need a huge result here this evening if they want to have any chance of winning the Constructors. Alpine, well, they're flying at the moment, and with Jaden very far down in 15th, and he doesn't seem to have much good pace at the moment either, because he's not catching up at all very close to the back of Epic. I think he may have had an incident at the start. He's currently running in 15th. So unless that is maybe something to do with his hard tyres or whatever's happening with Jaden, maybe a setup not on, he is having problems. George Ansel has started to slow a little bit, and I say a little bit, it's only about of a tenth that Legend has caught up, but he's now within DRS, which means he will be able to defend from Quattro and possibly gain a little bit more on George Ansel. They both have very similar ERS. Quattro's burnt his a lot, but he's very far away from Syke, Tyro, and it looks like, oh, there's a battle for 7th place here. All three going for it. F. Parsons seems to be struggling at all on those soft tyres, as Owen Curry has picked up a penalty and he becomes another driver that's done that. Owen Curry, a little bit of a snap there. What has happened, I don't know, but those yellow flags have not been cleared, because it's Jake May has spun out, and that's what those yellow flags were brought out for. The Aston Martin, has he hit the barriers? I'd like a closer camera angle than what he has. No, he hasn't, so he's okay for the moment, as Sam Skyer has picked up a 3-second penalty as well. We're still running with all 20 drivers here, 7 laps in. We'll see how much longer it'll take, as Harrison's got by a Days, who has gone off the track there in the Red Bull. That's not great at all. So Harrison has made up a lot of places here from the start. Jaden is gaining there, and he's got by Days as well, as Days picked up damage maybe here. No, but he's definitely going extremely slow. We'll have to find out what the problem of that was. Still, nobody has decided to come into the pits here. Everybody has made a stop. Now Days is struggling an awful lot. I think he may have picked up some damage here that isn't visible, and he's coming into the pits. and he is retired from the session. So I don't know what that was for. Maybe there was some sort of side pod damage, but in the end, Days is out of the race. And his car has left the pit lane. Unfortunately, that's gonna hopefully not affect the leaders in front. But that's our first retiree 8 laps into the race. Still nobody, even on the medium or soft tyres, has decided to come into the pits. Both leaders, well, both drivers 1 and 2 are on the hard tyres. Quattro on the mediums, with Syke still kind of doing well for himself there on the softs. Oh, but he's had a snap there. That's Tyro's had a spin there. Oh, and he's reset to the track. And that is going to be a 10-second time penalty added on to the end of his race. The Ferrari driver on the end of lap 9 there has had an incident. Oh, and Harrison and El Mas having a bit of a side-by-side battle here through one. We'll see what these have. Oh, not much, because El Mas has spun out and he's hit the barriers. Has he got any sort of damage? We don't know yet, but that is annoying for the Haas team, especially to spin out from a battle with your own teammate. Something they at all won't be very happy about. It's Jake Mate, his first driver into the pit lane, and onto those hard tyres. El Mas has retired from the session. He's retired on track as well, so that is going to be him excluded from the Chinese Grand Prix. Front three are blasting out in front. Still none of the soft tyres runners have decided to come in. A Ferrari has come in of Tyro, along with one of the soft runners of Lucky Nutshot. I don't think anyone else behind has decided to come in. Everyone else is continuing on. Tyro from the mediums to the hards, and then Lucky Nutshot, I think, from the softs to the hards as well. Tyro has retired from the session. Our third retiree here on lap 10. And another bogey point added to him, his licence. So as the front three battle away here, all three, other than maybe Mercedes, have really had strong kind of team this year. They've Ferrari and Alpine. Oh, that's Quattro? That's Quattro round, and where his teammate went round not too long ago, Quattro's done the exact same and is dropped all the way down to 7th place. And as I was complimenting the Ferrari team, in the space of 2 laps they've both spun out on the exact same piece of tarmac and have dropped down many places here, which has put the McLaren of Syke into a very decent position now of P3. I'm sure George Ansel will be looking at it. He's currently 24 seconds ahead of his championship rival, and he's the only person in the top 4 without a penalty. He's looking at this race going, this is in my hands. The fact is, he has had many races this season that have been in his hands, and he hasn't been able to keep them in his hands, so he has 20 laps to prove us all wrong as they go through the tricky sector 2 now. Brake pedals broken. It seemed, yeah, you were going very slow there through most of the corners, and I thought there would have been some sort of problem. That's all okay, Days. We hope the problem's fixed in 2 weeks' time for your next race, I think, Tier 2 in China. hopefully I'll be back for that race. So I think most of the soft runners other than SJ Williams have come into the pits, and as I say that, it's the soft runners' time to go in for their pit stop. Syke, with a very solid stint, has kept his podium place on where he started this race in third, and is probably going to come out in and around in front of his teammate in the top 10. Quattro has also decided to come in. Now we'll see, kind of all the drivers who have made a pit stop, will he come out ahead of F. Parsons or not? I'm pretty sure Syke will, as he's able to get going right around now, as it's going to be close between him and the Mercedes, but he is going to be out well ahead. Unfortunately, SLR Quattro won't be. Parsons is up and has jumped the Ferrari driver. That's huge for Mercedes. Other than that, the top 8 haven't pitted. Jaden is currently, 27 seconds behind the race leader, and he needs some sort of miracle if he wants to win this race. Whenever I thought he'd maybe go for maybe a strong undercut, but maybe he's looking for maybe an overcut, being as he's on the hard tyres. We'll see now. The question is, when any of the top 3, when the rest of the drivers going to pit, when is Epic, maybe Zane, going to pit? Epic, not only became the first tier 3 driver to score points, but is now the first driver to have raced in, I'm pretty sure, every single tier, and is currently now a tier 1 full time, having raced in Jeddah and Britain and finished in 5th and 6th. He's come into the pits now and is going to change his tyres. Probably will come out outside of the points, but he's put in a solid stint on those mediums and has got himself quite high. We'll see whether he does come out ahead of Ski Fan, and I'm sure he'll be jumped by pretty much everyone else in the pit lane as Quattro gets back up into the point scoring positions, and Epic will come out ahead of his teammate and Ski Fan, and is only a place off another points finish, currently running in the top 10 of tier 1. And only a week ago he was a registered tier 3 driver, so very impressive. We have 10 people watching the stream, which is brilliant to see. If you have any opinions or any predictions for the rest of the race, be sure to jot them into the chat and I'll keep an eye on them. At the moment, both the leaders are currently 10 seconds clear of the nearest car. Everyone else has stopped. The question is, with Syke now pitting onto those fresh tyres, how much of an undercut will he get? And maybe possibly, if they start battling, could he maybe take the lead of the race by the end of it? He's on the back of an AlphaTauri here, and I think is probably going to get by him now because Zane peels into the pits and now has a lot of clean air to work his magic, and knowing Syke probably set the fastest lap of the race, currently held by F. Parsons, which is a 1:24.8. Syke needs to improve by 2/10, and he hasn't really got a lap quite well. As I say that, 24 has turned into now a 23.9, so he needs about 1.1 second improvement if he wants to set the fastest lap. We'll have a look now as he's going through the first sector. The only real battle on track at the moment is George Ansel and Legend, as Jaden hasn't waited for any sort of undercut. He's come into the pits and is now out of the points. Syke has set the fastest sector 1, and in his clean air is using it to his advantage. Has already gained a second to Owen Curry ahead. Owen Curry being the last driver, I'm pretty sure. No, everyone on the mediums. And Sam Ascara has decided to come into the pits. Both tier 3 drivers are struggling, but it's good to see them keeping incident free and also getting their laps in, something they need to do in order to improve. It's good to see. Syke set the fastest sector 2 as well, so he could definitely be on for possibly the fastest lap here. We'll see, going through the final corner now. The McLaren driver, is he going to set the fastest lap? He has gained 2 seconds to Owen Curry already, and to the line he goes now. It's not going to be the fastest lap, but it's definitely going to be close. He doesn't seem to be, well, he has very little ERS to be burning, but he doesn't seem to be doing quite as well. Quattro showing his experience, and is going to hope to maybe catch up to the rest of the field soon. Pretty much everyone, although Quattro with 12 seconds of penalties really could be struggling a lot for the rest of this race. Oven Curry with 6, and then obviously it's Jake May also 12, Bosan 15. There's drivers out there that are struggling, and they are struggling a lot. Most drivers other than that are on just the tree. Syke seems to be managing his tyres well. He's 26 seconds behind the leader though, so well, as that's constantly going down, we can see, we'll keep an eye on that gap, because there's not many other gaps that are very, very close at the moment, other than Harrison and Hyper. The battle currently for what is P3, but we don't know for how long. But that's not going to be a battle for many longer, because Hyper has came into the pits, and Harrison is doing a very fine job himself at cruising away here, and is about to, I think that's lap, it's Jake May on the, or Sam Esquire on the straight. Both Williams and Aston Martin drivers have been lapped and will stay out of the incidents, as Hyper has done a very, very impressive stint there and has dropped out behind SLR Quattro. So very, very good there, as now both Alfa Romeo drivers are into the points. So patience has paid off for Epic, and he has got himself up into the points, but a very, very far away gap from George Ansel. That gap between Syke still going down by tenths of a second. We'll see how much it has to be for them maybe to take the lead of the race, as Jaden has set the fastest lap on the medium tyres. That was his first fast lap of the race, and he's going to hope now, although having to gain 15 seconds on the car lucky nutshot, and in order to pick up some points. So there's huge chance here for George Ansel, who are now into the pits. So we'll keep an eye on our good friend Syke, because Harrison's also into the pits. Oven Curry more than likely will also go into the pits now, as Syke is now still going through the final corner now. Legend and George Ansel have got their tyres changed. Syke going around the final corner. He is going to have some DRS to aid him to get down the straight quick enough, but it's looking like both of them are going to stay ahead. Although being on cold tyres, Syke may have a bit of a chance here to get at them if he can get by Oven Curry as quickly as possible. All four of these drivers very, very close together, but George Ansel looks like he's kept the lead of the race. He has 13 more laps in order to keep it and win the race. We'll have to find out about that. It's been a strong race from most of the drivers here. Unfortunately for Oven Curry, when he does come into the pits, those 6 seconds of penalties are not going to help him at all. More than likely will drop, well, if I think about it now, all the way down and out of the points. We'll find out when he probably comes into the pits right around now. Well, at least his teammate is going to score even more points. Zayn, well, didn't score any points. He only finished 14th last time out in Great Britain, as he couldn't reconnect his to his car. So it's looking like his pace is going to pay off this evening, and he may finish in the points. Owen Curry's into the pits now. Ooh, he's just clipped that wall on the inside. Hopefully he hasn't picked up any damage as he gets close to the line. Doesn't pick up a penalty, but is going to drop down the order, and with him having 6 and his teammate having only 3 seconds of penalties, he more than likely is going to drop out of the points. Although it's going to be close between them, and they may have a little bit of a battle for points here at the end between teammates. We'll find out. It's not until the line now when they're getting going. Yep, Zayn is true, but it is very close behind there. That's SJ Williams trying to defend from the championship leader of Jaden, and that's like F1 versus F2 which it essentially is. It's tier 1 versus tier 2, and Jayden just steams by. And now, well, now that I think of it, with the drivers ahead having penalties, if he can close up to the AlphaTauris, he should be able to pick up some points himself and limit the damage, and at least keep that every race he starts, he finishes in the points. We've only have one driver that has started every race and has finished in the points every race, and that is our friend SLR Quattro, currently running in 5th. Fair play to him. Again, even after his spin, he seems to be doing quite well, but 12 seconds of penalties means that he's probably going to drop all the way down and out of the points. That's Lucky Nut shotgun for a spin there, out of turn 10, and that's him out of the points and under pressure from Jayden, who flies down the inside. A lovely move. Even though it was a car only getting back up to speed, he didn't want to yield. He wanted to just steam by and keep his good pace, and is now only one car away from the podium, or from the points. I say that he's picked up a penalty. He still is only a 3-second gap away from Oven Curry with 6. But that means that the only driver without a penalty is Harrison, because I've just missed that George Ansel also picked up a penalty. So Legend, it's your first race back. Go on and possibly win it, son. He's closing in. Obviously, Sam Esquire is the only driver who has been lapped. Bosan's about to be lapped, but Legend should be looking at this thinking, I have a huge chance of winning this race now, both with 3 seconds penalties. Harrison's the only one without a penalty, and with many drivers ahead. Oh, I just say that he's picked up a penalty, but SLR Quattro's picked up another one. That puts him on 15, so he's going to drop many places, down 12 seconds. Quattro's looking like he's going to aim for a P8 finish here tonight. That is going to be quite difficult. Every driver on the grid has picked up a penalty. That's how difficult this track seemed to have been. As we watch the cars go round the final corners now, Syke has picked up a bit of DRS to help his defence from F. Parsons. As far as tyre life, his is actually younger than the Mercedes, so if he keeps up his pace, he should be able to keep the lead or his podium till the end of the race. 10 laps in order to do so. Bosan is looking like he could be in the brinks of possibly disqualification with the amount of time penalties he's picked up. Samaskyra trying to gain time as much as possible, but unfortunately unable to do so, as Lucky Nutshots into the pits and onto a fresh pair of soft tyres until the end of the race. Not much battles on track. Zane Fell has lost out to his teammate, which I don't know if that's maybe a tactical move. Zane maybe stay behind Oven Curry and let Oven Curry uses that little bit of 5 seconds of clean air to try and burst away and get away from obviously the championship leader and fast driver of Jayden. We'll have to find out. Epic yet again doing an extraordinary job. I don't know, a lot of people will say he's maybe my new fan favourite along with Lucas Paul, because he has been absolutely incredible since his Tier 1 debut in Saudi Arabia, and he's going to pick up another 4 points to add to his brilliant tally. Dave saying Jayden having a shocker. He is indeed, as Harrison has got the place there on Quattro. So I was saying Harrison will get the place on Quattro, but he's got it anyway, and he's up in the 5th. So that is a brilliant move, and he could possibly get by F. Parsons soon. Harrison, now that I think of it, if he keeps up his solid pace, could be on for a podium here. That'll be his first podium of the season, and after a few moments everywhere else, we'll see now. He gets a great exit on the Mercedes. The man formerly in his seat. How long can he stay in front? Parsons, well, he's really on the back of him here now, and Parsons trying desperately to defend, may help Syke stay away, try and fire away here. Legend is keeping that 1 second gap He's also kind of keeping, well, he isn't keeping much ERS, but he's keeping as much as he can. Parsons just about manages to get the DRS off Syke, but Harrison's setup means that he's too quick. He's only just shifted into 8th gear now as they go up towards turn 1. Parsons keeps the position, but round the outside goes the Haas driver of Harrison, and he's up into 4th place, and he's 1 car away now from his first ever podium here in the Worldwide League Racing of Tier 1. We'll see now as they head now up towards turn 4. He'll have to wait maybe towards the end of this lap until he can maybe get it. I wonder if Legend is trying to either stick with George Ansler, if he's maybe trying just to sit behind him for the moment and maybe launch an attack in the later laps. All drivers will have to go back because they're picking up penalties everywhere. Legend's picked up another 6, so I think that's the end of his potential race win unless George Ansel picks up another 6. Well, interesting last few laps there, but we'll have a look now to see whether Harrison on those fresh mediums should get by Syke very, very quickly here, and possibly get by Bosan as well, the lap driver in the process, as they head up now towards turn 15. Syke, I think he knows that his fate is coming soon, and Harrison now on the driver with no DRS, and the well, actually Syke, very smart, has picked up the DRS from Bosan there, and with his very notorious straight line speed setup should be able maybe to stay in front, but Harrison will have the better tyres going through the corners. Syke keeps the place for the moment. Harrison still trying to fight. He might have one more overtaking opportunity down towards turn 4. Something's happened there at the front that I've just missed. I don't know if that's the Aston Martin or if it's the drivers in front. Syke keeps the position. Look at them, their bumper to rear wing to front wing is very, very close between the Haas and the McLaren driver here, as it looks like SLR Quattro sticking a front wing down the inside there as well. All 4 of these drivers battling for the podium here, although Quattro, unless he can maybe get 12 seconds of penalties removed, I don't know if he's going to be able to keep the podium if he does manage to get onto it. But Harrison knows that Syke won't have DRS this lap, so that means he should be able to get the place. He might be able to get the place before the straight. I'm sure he's going to think he has Quattro right on his rear wing, so he doesn't want to let him get by him. He also, at the same time, he doesn't want to overtake Syke too early, or he'll just go back by him on the straight. We'll see now. They are all slowing down a bit here because nobody wants to lead. We'll see if Harrison has picked up the DRS. He hasn't, so that's going to leave him vulnerable to the cars behind. But I think on the fresher tyre is going to have the straight line speed to stay in front anyway, as Hyper looks to have joined to make it a 5-way battle for the podium. But Harrison has kept the lead, or has kept his advantage, and I think that's another time penalty for Syke, which has put him out of the battle. And Syke has now gone off and into the gravel and is dropping places and is down to 7th place, so that is quite unfortunate from the McLaren driver, who was running in the podium only half a lap ago, is now down in 7th. But Harrison on those fresh tyres is flying away at the moment. We'll see how long it takes before he's out of a second of Quattro. Quattro still seems to be doing okay though at the moment, and should be on course to finish in maybe 7th place with his penalties. Legend has caught up a little bit to George Ansel and is at least just getting some DRS, as George Ansel hasn't picked up another 3 seconds though, so Legend, if he wants to win this race, is going to have to get by him sooner rather than later. But George Ansel is showing his pace really well here, and the driver who's started first many times maybe might finish first. We'll have to find out in a few laps time. Yep, that battle there for the podium that we had for maybe only just a lap has faded away. It was very interesting, but unfortunately didn't last for very long. And both Quattro, Parsons and Hyper have all kind of distanced away from each other there, as Days has decided to leave the session. fair play to him for staying in, maybe helping out his teammate or doing something there in the spectator menu. But he's decided to call it quits. Maybe he might go and do something else. Maybe he was trying to fix his brakes as well. 25 laps into this race, no safety car despite the amount of penalties that have been handed out, and amazingly only 3 retirements. So a very, very strong race it's been in terms of to finish off the season. And incredibly, even though the attendance has been poor, we have 20 drivers for the last 3 races. So I must applaud the reserves and the full-time drivers that are consistently there. I suppose I may as well name them out, as not much is happening here between the rest of them. So Jaden is there quite a lot. He is currently closing in on Zayn. Both of them have 3 seconds. So I don't think he's going to gain many positions from... Well, he won't gain any position. You'll have to try and get by him. Oh, Zayn's just picked up another penalty. So it looks like our championship leader is going to continue his run of consecutive points. I'll leave this on penalties so people can view. The battles have started to fade away. We still have 10 people watching, amazingly, so thank you for everyone who are staying around. Jaden is of course one of those drivers who is racing quite a lot at the moment. Zayn's got by Epic in the process there, so Epic I think may be able, as long as he stays within 6 seconds maybe of Oven Curry, may be able to pick up P8. We'll have to find out later on. George Ansel has also raced in every race this season and could be rewarded with his first race win here tonight. SLR Quattro is the only driver to not only have raced in every race this season, but has also scored points in every race this season, and is going to continue that record more than likely today. As Epic has picked up 6 seconds, that's going to leave him vulnerable, very vulnerable. I don't think he's going to score a point now, and that is quite unfortunate. But speaking of Epic, another one of the drivers that have raced in a lot of races this season. Oven Curry is the same, has missed 2, but has raced in 4. Douglas has also managed to race in over 50% of the races this season. It's Jake Mate the same, missed the first 2 due to holidays and hasn't missed a race since. Kofi has raced in 50% of the races this season, which is a very impressive record. Well, not very impressive, but an impressive record. Unfortunately, only 8 points to his name. Other than that, I think that's the only full-time drivers that I'm really very proud of at the moment. Darius has picked up a few, but that's only 3 points each, or 2 podiums. Finishing 3rd place is the reason he's 5th in the championship, only behind Bogdan. So Legend's still hoping for George to pick up another penalty. It's looking unlikely. Now we'll have a look, we'll cheat a bit, and we'll have a look at the race director. Nope, we can't. There's been so many penalties that the race director has failed. That is unfortunate. So we don't know what's happening as far we can look here. Yeah, we can. Here we go. Oh, okay. He is 1 warning away from picking up another time penalty. And you can see there, he's staying far away from the edge of the track as possible. He's trying to make sure that he keeps this lead of the race for as long as he possibly can. As Quattro's lost out to Hyper here, who's seeming to gain away. And I think that's Zayn, who's spun out at the final corner there. Jaden's up into the podium places, and that's good news for Epic. He's looking like he's going to pick up another point here in Tier 1. Legend, again, look at him, still on the back as Quattro's picked up another 3-second penalty. That puts his total to 18. It's going to be a real prediction game. If someone can do the maths and tell me where on earth he's going to finish, that is going to be a question and a half. Will he be able to keep his record of scoring points in every race this season? We'll see. Legend closing in on George Ansel, but he has to have possibly another penalty as we start the final lap of this race. It's Legend versus George Ansel here as they power down the straight. Legend is within 6/10 and possibly will be able to launch one final attack into turn 1. Here we go. as they've been battling all race. Legend goes down the inside and takes the lead of the race. A brilliant overtake by the Mercedes. Now, the question is George Ansell going to remain composed and stay within the 6 seconds? If I go to race director and view Legend's times, because he may try and maybe get a penalty removed. He has more than one warning, so he has to have 2 of them removed if he wants to have any chance of winning this race. We'll have to find out, but Legend is going now down towards the long run towards 10. He is leading the race, but George Ansell has managed to keep penalty free for the moment, and I think he will. And as he's gaining here on Legend, it's looking like that's the McLaren of Ski Fan staying out of the way. It's looking like it's going to be Alpine's first win of the season. George Ansell has started first 4 times this season, but he has not managed to finish first at all. But as he rounds the final corner here in Qatar, he's going to finish first today. George Ansell crosses the line and wins the Qatar Grand Prix. It's going to be Legend who finished first on track, but with penalties has dropped down to second place. Harrison, what a strong performance from him. He rounds the final corner and finishes in third place. Hyper, being a tier 2 driver, has cruised to a very, very acceptable P4, but is going to be jumped by F. Parsons and finishes in 5th. Syke, he's swerving around, he's excited as he lashes into the Aston Martin and finishes in 6th. Oven Curry finishes in 7th. Jaden powers down the straight, but it's looking like he's going to stay in 8th. I think Quattro ran out of fuel at the end there, which means that he's going to finish out of the points and won't continue his record of finishing in the points in every race. Zane finishes in 8th, and SJ Williams somehow at the end finishes in 10th. SLR Quattro, 28 seconds of penalties. A race to forget. And is he going to make it to the line? This is going to be like Lightning McQueen in cars. Is he going to make it to the line? Because both him and Epic both ran out of fuel. Quattro finishes in 11th with Epic in 12th. It's Jake May. It's Jake May. It's Jake May and Lucky Nutshot. It's Jake May and Lucky Nutshot at the end there, DNFing on the line, which means that they won't get the classification points, and they will have another race that's gone down as a DNF for them. But George Ansell is finally standing on that top step of the podium and brings the points all the way down to 5 points now for the second race, second half of the season. It is an impressive drive from him. Now, Jaden said that there was a problem during qualifying with his steering, which led to his DNF. Now, did that possibly mean, with that setup, that either he raced on pad or maybe he was just so slow, and that's why he could only finish in 8th place, which brings the championship points all the way down to, now that I'm thinking, 4. Brings it down to 9 points, so that is going to be interesting. 9 points. So George Ansell finishes in first, with Legend in second, Harrison in third. F. Parsons means Mercedes get their strongest finish of the season. He finishes fourth for the second consecutive race. Hyper in fifth, with Syke in sixth. Oven Curry 7th, Jaden 8th, Zane 9th, with SJ Williams rounding out the top 10. Epic in 11th, Quattro 12th, Ski Fan 13th, Samascaran in 14th, Bossan 15th, it's Jake May, Lucky Nutshot 16th, 17th, Tyro in 18th, with Elmas in 19th, and Days finishing dead last. This has been Qatar. That's the first round, or the first half of WLR Tier 1. Brilliant race to finish off the first half of the season. We'll see you in 2 weeks' time in China. Until then, good night.